week I started on a message concerning the mind, heart, and the mouth, and it really goes to the flesh also. That's why I have mouth and flesh up there. You know, the mind is the computer. It is the thought process of the man, you know, mankind, and then that computer takes in what it sees and what it hears. And it takes that in and then processes it through the heart. And the heart is where man's thought process is regarding the determinations on what he or she believes, don't believes, or does or doesn't do. That's why I put the flesh up here. So with that said, you know, last week we saw that Judas, and really what started this was a thought that I had of how everybody has the mind, the heart, and the mouth, or the flesh, and how all can hear a specific thing concerning the Lord. For instance, the 12 men that were with the Lord, they all heard and saw the miracle. They all heard his doctrine, his preaching, and his teaching. Yet out of the 12, one of them rebelled against him and sold him out. So I'm thinking, if they all have the mind, all have the heart, all have the mouth and the flesh there, why didn't all 12 sell him out? Or why was there 11 that were faithful and only one decided to sell him out? Why weren't they all faithful? Well, we see that what plays in this really big time is the heart of man. Where's the heart? The heart of man. So with that said, I want to use some examples in your Bible that took place in the world that shows you the heart of man. Turn back in your Bible to Genesis and look in Genesis chapter 6. In Genesis chapter 6, notice with me at this time, it is a time Noah and his family were living. And so at this point in time, in Genesis 6, let's look at the situation that was here on the earth. In verse 1, "And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made him on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And we'll just hold up there. It goes to show you the situation of the earth when these characters, I could call them, the sons of God, came on the scene. Verse 2, it talks about the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. The sons of God, there's a connection to them as being the fallen angels with Lucifer when he fell. They're referred to as the sons of God. Now, folks, I can't describe this to you where you get a visual of what this all looked like and what they looked like. Obviously, they had man's form and man's ability to reproduce because they took upon them wives. They took upon them women out of the women of the earth and wound up having kids from there. And from that point, giants, that's where the giants came in. And the end result is they corrupted the earth. And it's interesting to note about this. In verse 5, how it's worded here. It says, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart." You'd think it should say every imagination of the thoughts of his mind, because with the mind you think. But you see, whatever was taking place entered the ears and the eyes of those on this earth, and they processed it through the heart, like a filter system. Well, the heart has, in your Bible, the heart is always closely connected to the mind and the mind with the heart. Some places it's interchangeable, but at the same time there is an independence there. And so whatever they saw, whatever they heard, goes through the mind into the heart. And so every imagination of the heart, was only evil continually. In other words, there was no break in it. There was no break. You know, folks, we're exposed to stuff that are evil day in and day out. And with the mind, we hear and we see those things. It enters our heart, and then we process it through the mouth of what we speak or through the flesh as far as the action's concerned. But the heart is a thing that either filters it out or allows it to go on. And many times the character of an individual, you know, they talk about, bad example, politicians, do they have the character? Well, none of them have ever had the character. Sidebar for the message. But the fact of the matter is, the character of an individual is based upon the heart of the individual. Because in the mind that processes both seeing and hearing things. You could take David, and that's why I like King David as an illustration. I mean, I just like his life, is the fact that King David looked and saw Bathsheba bathing. Now, he could have sat there and in his heart fantasized about it, but what did he do? He pursued it with the flesh and went into adultery. So here, this was a situation of the entire world being corrupted. Man's eyes and ears heard those things. The heart processed it to such, and got to such a point that everything